Hello and welcome to another episode of the BSN Sports Podcast. Today is Monday, October 10th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. It is in fact Monday, October 10th here today, coming off what was an exciting, really fun weekend in sports. You had a ton of playoff baseball. Wild card weekend is officially behind us as we now get ready for the AL and NLDS. Looking forward to that. As a Yankee fan today, you're just getting really pumped up for tomorrow. Super excited. Looking forward to it. Big game tomorrow. Game 1. Looking forward to it. 5-game series in the ALDS. It's always interesting because, the ALDS, each game means a little bit more since it's only a 5-game series. You lose game 1. Well, game 2 is automatically a must win because you can't go then on the road down 2-0 and have to find a way to come back from 2-0 and win 3 straight, which the Yankees actually did in 2017 against the Indians. So looking forward to that. It is a victory Monday, so it's a great day. Jets get the win. Phenomenal victory yesterday, 40-17. We'll get into it all. We'll get to the Mets as well. Going to be a quicker podcast today. Going to be about 20-25 minutes just due to timing. So we're going to get to the NFL recap, talk about the Jets, get to the Giants. We'll get to fantasy football. We'll also get to the Mets as well, and get you ready for tomorrow, Yankees Guardians ALDS Game 1. Super fired up. And as for the Mets, their season ends early with a 6-0 loss last night. A 6-0, really an embarrassing loss yesterday in terms of their performance, going out flat. The crowd, I don't know if you want to read into it too much, but the crowd was taken out of the game. I mean, the crowd had nothing to cheer for. And to the Met fans out there that were there yesterday, that spent your hard-earned money to go watch that garbage, well, it was a terrible performance. And the Mets season's over. An incredibly disappointing year. No matter which way you put it, if you're a Met fan today that say, oh, we won 101 games, that's great. But you blew the division. You blew a 10.5 game lead. Your biggest pitchers did not come up in the biggest spots. And that's the bottom line. I mean, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom in the Braves series didn't come up big, and in the Padres series didn't come up big. And to be fair, deGrom was their best pitcher in those 2 series, but even he wasn't at the top of his game. Even he didn't pitch his best. He could have even been better as well. I mean, Scherzer going out there and letting up, 7 runs is inexcusable. For a guy that's getting paid $40+ million a year to go out there and let up that much runs against a Padres team in which you're at home, game 1, unacceptable. So a really terrible series loss for the Mets. They're eliminated. They're done. We'll get to it a little bit here, but we got to start off today, as this is the BSN Sports Podcast, as we get right into it here today. An exciting, packed Monday. An exciting, packed week ahead. I mean, just a great week ahead. You got Rangers hockey tomorrow night. You got opening night there. You got playoff baseball. I mean, a great time of year. October, as I always say, is the best time of sports, especially when you're a football fan, when you're a hockey fan, when you're a baseball and a basketball fan, especially when your baseball team's in the playoffs, and your football team like the New York Jets yesterday. Not often can I say this. I haven't said this really at all ever on the podcast because it hasn't happened since 2018. The last time the Jets were 3-2 was 2017. The Jets are above 500 as the Jets yesterday get the win 40-17 over the Miami Dolphins, improving to 3-2 on the year. Dolphins fall to 3-2. And I mean, what a win yesterday for the New York Jets. I mean, that is exactly what we've needed. I mean, this to start off with this. Yesterday was by far one of the biggest games the Jets have played in a very long time in terms of changing the narrative at home. Division game, coming off a big win on the road against Pittsburgh. I mean, yesterday was as big of a game as it gets in a really long time for this New York Jets team. An opportunity to get above 500, in which the Jets haven't done. An opportunity to get to win an AFC East matchup in which the Jets haven't done in 2 years. Going into yesterday's game, prior to yesterday's game, the last time the Jets won a game in the AFC East was Week 17 in Buffalo, in which the Jets won their 7th game of the season, got the 7-9. The game meant absolutely nothing. Jets won that game, and that was it. That was the last time the Jets won an AFC East game. All of 2020, they lost all 6, and last year they lost all 6. They were on a 12-game AFC East losing streak. And to go out there yesterday and get a win at home against the Dolphins opponent who, I've talked about this a lot, we've actually struggled with in the past. They read something like 8 of the last 9 matchups between the two or something the Dolphins have won. I mean, it goes all the way back. The Dolphins have dominated us over the past couple years. They really have. And it hasn't been close. So to go out there yesterday and get a win at home, that is something we haven't seen in forever. And that yesterday's win tells us times are changing with the New York Jets. And they're changing for the better. The years, the days of the pain, the atrocious football, the blowouts, nobody showing up to the games. I mean, yesterday, to all the fans out there that went to the game yesterday afternoon, I mean, phenomenal. I mean, the crowd energy was great. That's the loudest I've heard MetLife in years. I mean, I always go back to last year's game. I was at the Jets-Bills game last year, and by the second half, it was practically like the Jets were playing in Buffalo, just a little bit warmer. It wasn't like Buffalo weather where, it's snowing and stuff. It was a little bit warmer, but it was basically all Bills fans by the second half because the Jets were being destroyed. Yesterday, however, the crowd was roaring. Jets, Jets chants. I mean, it was great. I mean, yesterday shows us times are changing. The narrative is changing with this Jets team. And it's all from the young players. Breece Hall having his best game of his young career. Garrett Wilson had a nice catch as well. Zach Wilson, you might look at the numbers and say 210 yards and no touchdowns, no picks, but he did what he needed to do. And yesterday, I think, secretly, again, because he didn't do too much, but yesterday, Zach Wilson showed progress in terms of what he was last year and what he's turned into this year. And I'll tell you why. Again, where last year, games like this, where, they'd be running the ball a lot, to kind of break it down easy for you. As a rookie last year, Zach Wilson, when the game got close, because in the third quarter it got a little ugly, and as a fan, I got worried because I was worried that the typical Jets were going to kick in and lose the game that they should have won, and that missed kick by Jason Sanders completely changed the direction of the game, momentum all in the Jets' favor. Carl Lawson with the strip sack, Quinnen Williams stiff-arming Tyreek Hill, all great momentum in our favor, fourth quarter team. Again, that's another thing too. This young team is competing late in the games. I mean, they're coming back, they're fighting, they're battling. I mean, fourth quarter has been, that's been our quarter this year. I mean, we've dominated in the fourth quarter this year. It's been phenomenal. And we saw that again yesterday. That was on full display yesterday, where you go out in the fourth quarter and you dominate. I mean, it was great to see. Awesome to see. I mean, again, this team has fight. For so many years, the Jets have blown leads in the fourth quarter. Now they're coming back, and they're adding on to leads, and they're playing well in the fourth quarter. And that's a sign of a young team that's fighting, and the main word, competing. That's what we want. Competitive, fun, exciting football to watch, and we got that yesterday. But back to my Zach Wilson point, because, again, I could bounce at so many different angles. I'm so excited. I mean, I haven't been this pumped up as a Jet fan forever, even after the Tennessee win last year when Zach Wilson got his first win and showed so many positives. I haven't been this excited forever. I mean, I might be more excited than I was after the Jets-Browns game, just because, again, we're doing with a young team, and Zach Wilson showing progress. But back to Zach Wilson, kind of add on to it was, yesterday he didn't need to go out there and throw for 300 yards. He didn't need to go out there and throw for 3 touchdowns. He rushed for a touchdown. Michael Carter had 2 touchdowns. Barrows had a rushing touchdown. And Breece Hall had the day of his career. 5 rushing touchdowns yesterday. Zach Wilson did what he needed to do. He made the throws that he needed to make. Didn't turn the ball over. Played within the offense. Took what the defense was giving him. Something that he wouldn't have done last year. In a game like yesterday, if that was last year, let's say that was week 5 of last season, Zach Wilson probably would have ended with a stat line of 2 interceptions, 160 yards, maybe 14 of 25 passing. But instead, yesterday he was 210 yards, 14 of 21, Jets win, 5 rushing touchdowns. And oh yeah, Zach Wilson also had a rushing touchdown. And I'll tell you why that is, and I'll tell you why we saw progress yesterday at him. Because yesterday, again, he took what the defense was giving him. He didn't try to make, when the game got close, he didn't try to do too much. I mentioned this all off season. I've said this so many. What I want to see out of Wilson this year, too, is not trying to do too much. Take what the defense is giving you. He didn't need to be that. He didn't need to go out there and throw 3 touchdowns. He didn't need to lead a game-winning drive yesterday, right? He did that in Pittsburgh. He showed he can do it in Pittsburgh. Yesterday, he showed he can run the ball a little bit. He showed he can play within the offense. He showed look, if they run the ball, which the Jets did, they ran the ball yesterday 33 times. He showed that he could pass it 21 times and still be efficient. And last year, when the game got close in the third quarter, he would throw the ball deep, turn it over, or panic and make a throw across the middle, or take a bad sack, or do something that a rookie would do. And seeing yesterday in which he really had none of those mistakes. He did take one bad sack, which he should have got thrown the ball away, but it is what it is. Yesterday he showed that, look, like progress. He did what we asked him to do. Go out there, completions, good solid throws. That's what he did. So it was good to see. And he also had a run. He had a touchdown himself, rushing touchdown, in which he lowered his shoulder and got in there. And that's another thing that's positive, too, is he has shown no signs of being scared or cautious with the knee, right? A lot of times quarterbacks, a lot of times players in general, and they get injured with a knee injury, and then they're cautious. Like, it takes them a couple weeks, even sometimes a season. I mean, look at Wentz. He's never been the same since his knee injury to fully get confidence back. Zach Wilson has lost no confidence in that knee. He's been running. He's been mobile. He's been rushing for a touchdown yesterday, all that good stuff. So yesterday was so many positives at home, an AFC East matchup. I mean, just listen to that. When's the last time we've been able to say the Jets won an AFC East game at home? When was the last time? It really is crazy. It's been a very long time, and it feels great. I mean, this is excellent. This is what we wanted. This is what we've been waiting for, and it's all young players again. And everybody talks about that 2017 team being the last time we went 3-2. You look at that 2017 team's roster. Look at the roster. Josh McCown was the quarterback. Veteran that, was not the future. We had guys like Jermaine Kearse. He was a veteran too. These are young guys that we're doing it with. And they're making impacts too. Sauce Gardner yesterday. Jeez, I can't forget about him. I was all about to go with podcasts without mentioning him. He set the tone for the game. He set the tone for the game. With that hit on Bridgewater, knocks him out of the game. It's a intentional grounding in the end zone, which obviously results in a safety. And I love that early on from the defense. We talk about starting out fast. And the defense played well yesterday. Stopping the run was a little bit of an issue. You hope they can work on that. But, I mean, man, oh, man. And I want to start off, and I want to say this, too. I don't want to hear, look, they contain Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, too. But I don't want to hear the excuse that the Dolphins were playing with Skylar Thompson. I don't want to hear that nonsense of an excuse. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you a couple reasons. And then we'll bounce to the Giants and we'll close things out. Number one, tons of Dolphins fans. I could go in many different angles, but I'll start with this. Number one, plenty of Dolphins fans yesterday, even a couple days prior, were saying start Skylar Thompson over Teddy Bridgewater because Bridgewater struggled in the Thursday night game. A lot of fans wanted him. So now that he's out there, he struggles. Now it's backup quarterback. Number two, to all of those saying, the only reason, to all the Dolphins fans saying, injuries, using it as an excuse. What about the other day when you beat the Bills? What about that victory? Bills were missing their entire secondary. You didn't use that as an excuse. Instead, Dolphins fans were saying, we overcame the injury of Tua and we found a way to win. Now all of a sudden injuries are an excuse. And number three, to all of those saying Skylar Thompson's the reason we won, Skylar Thompson doesn't play defense. What about the fact that they allowed 135 rushing yards? The defense wasn't missing many pieces. I mean, sure, they were missing Xavier Howard, but we ran for 135 yards. We didn't throw the ball for 400 yards. We ran all over them. Skylar Thompson doesn't play defense. Okay? So I want to make that clear. It's the NFL. You got to battle adversity. Look at these teams. Look at the Giants. They don't have it. I mean, they're playing practice squad receivers. Davis Sills and Darius Slayton are their number 1 and 2 receivers, and they won. They beat the Packers yesterday. I mean, look at the Cowboys. Cooper Rush is their quarterback, and they've won 4 straight. I mean, don't sit here and make excuses just because you're a salty fan, because you got crushed, and because you really and you know that your team is, you just realize that your team went on the road and got smoked. It's the NFL. Battle adversity. You got to overcome it. Right? Deal with it. I mean, the Jets went on the road this year and won with Flacco. I've said it all along. I've said this so many times as a Jet fan, too. You can't make excuses. It's the NFL. It's adversity. It's the NFL. It's the NFL, for crying out loud. There's injuries. There's things that happen. I mean, any given Sunday, there's going to be injuries. You have to overcome those injuries. Dolphins didn't do that. Jets took advantage of their poor defense, and they won the game. So I don't want to hear, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing, because you hear it all day, Skylar Thompson. Is Skylar Thompson play defense? I'll leave it at this. Number one, does Skylar Thompson play defense? And number two, is he able to stop the run? Was he able to be out there tackling Breece Hall? Or was that just the Dolphins defenders? Was just wondering. So, I'll leave it at that. But a great Jets win after all, and they're 3-2. And look, a big game coming up at Lambeau. And I'll tell you what, I'm already fired up because Jair Alexander comes out and says, we'll be really concerned if we lose next week, taking a shot at the Jets. And look, I mean, the times are changing for the Jets. The culture's changing. You could hear Saleh, too, in the locker room saying, we got to get used to this. Like, we're used to this. We expect to win now, right? And that's got to be the mindset. Winning now has kind of just got to be, normal for this team. And it seems like it is becoming normal, and that's so great. The confidence level is very high. But you got a big game coming up, and I'll tell you what, Packers just lost to the Giants, Giants are, seem to be legit, and that kind of, curves into my next segment here with the Giants. I mean, a great win yesterday, and I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Obviously, want to keep this video a little shorter just due to timing and scheduling. But the Giants get a big win yesterday as well, and I got to give a lot of credit to Daniel Jones. I mean, he's been clutch this year. He has. I mean, I think I saw a stat yesterday. He's led 3 game-winning drives. He's been clutch this year. He has been. And it all starts, too. I mean, you got to give, Daniel Jones was a warrior yesterday. I mean, you see that his hand getting all cut up against a good Packers defense, a veteran Packers team, working with the weapons that he's got. I mean, the Giants are doing it. They're doing it. It's not always pretty, but they're getting the job done. Period. End of sentence. And I'll tell you what, yesterday's win especially, and all of these wins continue to show us all, the Giants have gotten it so right at head coach. I mean, Brian Daboll is a legit NFL head coach that is just so good at what he does. I mean, he's taking a roster with barely 0 pieces. To put it in perspective, this is very similar to the roster that Joe Judge won 4 games with last year, and he's already won 4 games in the first 5 weeks. I mean, Brian Daboll, what he has done is phenomenal, and if he keeps this up, Coach of the Year. I mean, if he keeps this up, he's got to be. Because what he's doing with this team is simply remarkable. The cap space situation, the receivers, I mean, so many issues. And I mean, he has just come in, got guys to buy in, and the Giants with a big win, come from behind win against the Packers. You barely hear that. The Packers blowing a lead. Usually it's the opposing team blowing a lead against the Packers. I mean, the Giants went into halftime down 20-10, and it seemed like, things are going to get interesting. And they outscored them in the second half 17-0. I mean, they obviously took the safety late because the punter was running and ran out of the end zone because he wanted to waste time. So really it doesn't even count. It's 2 points, but it wasn't like, the Giants meant that to happen. They wanted that to happen. They were trying to, bleed, obviously, the clock. So that's how the safety happened. But I mean, man, oh man, this Giants team, it is it's time to stop taking this Giants team's legit. Let me leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. This Giants team's legit. They have a legit head coach. They got it. Wink Martindale, what he's done with the defense is phenomenal. I mean, the defense down the stretch there was big. Brian Daboll's a legit head coach. They got the answer. I mean, a phenomenal win for the Giants. And New York football, give you some numbers here. Last time both the Jets and the Giants were above 500, 2015. And the last time the Jets and the Giants back-to-back weeks both won back-to-back games was 2013. So you got to go all the way back 7 years ago to get the last time they were both above 500. And the last time they both won back-to-back games in back-to-back weeks, got to go all the way back to 2013, 9 years ago. I mean, that's how long New York football has been bad. Just think about that. The last time both teams were above 500, just about 7 years ago. It's been about 7 years where neither team has been good, and even if one's the other one's not. So New York football right now, it's crazy. Every year we talk about, usually every year, week 5, we're talking about how both teams are 2-8 or 1-9. Instead, both teams have a combined record of 7-3 through the first 10 games combined. I mean, that's pretty darn good. A 700 winning percentage, that's pretty darn good. So Jets and Giants, New York football seems to finally be back as both of them playing very, very good right now, and both of them really look legit. Jets and Giants. Really exciting time as a Jets fan, and obviously those Giants fans out there as well riding high at 4-1. And the NFC East, talk about it. 5-0 Eagles, 4-1 Cowboys, 4-1 Giants, and then you got the 1-4 Commanders. But the NFC East, for years and years and years, had been the laughingstock. Now it's turned into the powerhouse division. And the AFC West is almost like the struggling division, which it just shows you anything's possible. These seasons are, it takes wild turns and twists and all that stuff. All right, so let's get the game tonight. We got the Chiefs-Raiders. Chiefs 3-1, Raiders 1-3. Chiefs 7-point favorites, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, over-under set of 51.5. I'll take the Chiefs tonight. I'll take them 31-20. I'll take the under on the over-under of 51.5. Chiefs get the win. 91% of people think the Chiefs are winning this game. By the way, I went 10-5 this week on my NFL game picks. So if I get the win tonight, I'll be 11-5. My record right now stands at 45-34. So I'll look to get above 12 games above 500 if I get the pick correct tonight. Tomorrow we got Rangers Lightning opening night, Yankees Guardians as well. Garrett Cole versus Cal Quantrill. So looking forward to that. As for fantasy football, Elaire, guys like that, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, all those pieces could definitely be guys to put in play today. If you're maybe thinking about putting in a McCole Hardman or a Hunter Renfrow, or not even a guy like that, or that's pretty obvious actually. But if you're putting into any of those guys, it definitely would take Renfrow there. Renfrow is also another guy. He's healthy now, getting back at it after being out for a couple weeks. Devontae Adams, obviously a player in tonight's game. A big player, a lot of talent in tonight's game. Both quarterbacks could be a go. If you have Mahomes and Carr, I'd probably go with Mahomes at home. I'm going to take the Chiefs here, obviously. But a lot of good pieces tonight in fantasy. And as for fantasy, football, like I mentioned, giving you some advice here, it looks like I'm going to lose in every league. Now, I am winning in one league by 12. And I have Darren Waller, and my opponent has Juju and Kelsey. So I need Waller to have a big game tonight, but I need Kelsey and Juju to not play very well, which probably won't happen. In my other league, I'm losing by a ton. I need Waller to get me, 48 points. I need Waller to get me 47 points if I want to win. So Waller needs to have a massive game for me tonight. 47 points is possible for a receiver. It's happened. But he's a tight end, and I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to win in one league, and most likely I'm going to lose in the other 3. So it will be a 1-3 week for me. With the possibility of me winning in the other league, I need Waller to play big and Juju, Smith-Schuster, and Kelsey to struggle. But if anything, Kelsey's probably going to have a good game. Waller will probably play well, but Schuster's probably going to get a couple points and maybe lift them above. So we'll see how it plays out. But tonight, it's self-explanatory. The players you want to play tonight. It's not too many crazy decisions. If you're deciding between like a Josh Jacobs or Elaire, I'd probably put Elaire out there. But there is a lot of pieces, obviously. So we'll see how it all plays out. But exciting game tonight, Monday Night Football. And then tomorrow, it begins. Yankees, Guardians, game 1 from Yankee Stadium, 7:37 Eastern, TBS. Fired up. Super pumped up. This is big. Every year, every time, this time of year is always great because you always, you always go into the series with, your expectations. You talk about, how to win, what it takes to win. And man, oh man, the chase for 28 begins tomorrow night. Big game. Game 1 of the ALDS. Garrett Cole, Cal Quantrill. I think game 2 will be Nasty Nestor and Shane Bieber. And game 3 is going to be Sevy, and I forget the guy that's pitching for the Guardians. I know it's released. I just forget who it is. So looking forward to that. Preferably, Yankees sweep in 3 and move on to the ALCS and maybe get a couple extra days, and then we'll see. So looking forward to it. ALDS, NLDS all starts tomorrow. Dodgers, Padres, Phillies, Braves, Yankees, Guardians, Astros, Mariners. Looking forward to it. It's October baseball. It's that time of year. Great sports. Rangers as well tomorrow night. NHL opening night. Rangers Lightning. Rangers look for a little redemption after getting knocked out last year in 6 against the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals. And a big year, too, for the Rangers. High expectations, right? I mean, this is it. You last year get to the Eastern Conference Finals. You go in the offseason, sign Vincent Trocheck, bring in a couple pieces, really kind of your weaknesses were, we're pretty clear in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Lightning. You bring in pieces to fix those. Now this is your year. This is a year where you have a young team that's only getting better. You got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Let's do it again this year, and let's go above and beyond and get to the Stanley Cup. So that starts as well tomorrow night. Great time of year. Enjoy it all. As always, stay out. Stay on the lookout. I've kind of been doing it every other day, so just keep your eye out for podcasts as always, and hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.